we need a strap.
And we need blocks, you said?
Is someone coming here? The usual?
Yes, it's fine you're there.
Okay.
And Marge is
Well,
coming.
you know, I didn't want to take so much spot.
Oh, no.
Marge is coming, so she can be right here.
So is this
you're
her
over
usual
far
spot
enough.
here?
Who? Martha.
Not really. She kind of.
Okay, well, I mean, I really don't mind. I don't want somebody.
You want to be here? Okay. You
I
mind
just
being here?
want the person who wants their spot because I'm always late. So.
Now I feel bad. I'm ostracized.
I'd rather be over there, but I don't want to do that.
Oh,
to somebody
no.
who's still. Oh, no. Let's get it.
At different
Yeah, I
times
didn't want
of
to
year,
be
it's
over
a
here.
function of being close to the fan.
I can hear you breathing. It bothers me.
And the Thursday dental class.
Well, remind us
Close
of
to
the
that.
I get confused
Yeah,
if
yeah.
Yeah, depending on how long.
So we all have different needs.
Yes, it's different.
Yeah.
Well, since she's a little late, this will be easier for her to get in. Too.
Well, am I in
No
someone's
problem.
place?
No, you're good.
Yours.
So,
I know.
it is. Everybody got a strap. At home, we need a strap today. It's Tuesday, the 8th. Is that right? No, the 9th. Right? The 9th of February.
Rolling right along.
Yeah, but we do need straps. So it is very cold. I've warmed it up in here. I hope everybody's okay in here, but feet might be a little chilly in hands, but it won't last long. We'll get going. No. So get really comfortable in how you're sitting. And take your time. If you need to stretch your legs out long, by all means do. If you'd rather cross your legs, get really easy in the way your legs are crossed. So there are a lot of ways you can cross your legs. You know that. You can send your feet more towards under your knees. Some people like to cross a little at their ankles. Some people like to bring one leg up on top, right? So just get to where your hips feel good. Feel free to sit up, excuse me, on a blanket or a blanket and a block, right? And then just easily accept your breaths in and out. Imagine allowing your shoulders just to release way down and away from your ears as you lengthen up through the top of your head. And feel the breath coming into the belly, feeling the belly expand as you breathe in. Start to move forward and back with our breath, letting our exhales bring us forward and our inhales bring us back up. So just be really mindful as you start to allow yourself to move with your breath. And the next time that you do come forward, let yourself stay into that little seated forward bend. Now, how deep you go is up to you. Hands can give you support. You can stay up high. You can let yourself walk further out. Take your time. Try to let your head release if you can, as long as that doesn't bother your back. Enjoying your breaths. Feeling the ribs expand on your inhales. One more breath, and then we'll make our way on back up, walking ourselves back up, letting your hands come on out beside you here now. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands right down together to be in front of our chests. And then we'll reverse. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now bring your hands behind you and clasp your hands together. Bend your elbows enough to squeeze your palms together too. So your elbows are bent enough to where it feels okay to squeeze those palms together. Really feel your fingers squeezing together too. Wake up your hands a little bit here. And then let the hands come down a bit. We're going to shift the hands over to the right. Now you can fold your left forearm onto your low back if possible. And then if you can squeeze your palms together here, do. If this bothers your shoulders in any way, don't do it. But if you can squeeze your palms together here and, again, engaging up into your biceps, do. And then we'll bring the hands back down through center. We're going to go over to the left with the hands, fold that right forearm onto the low back. And then again, see if you can squeeze your palms together here. And then we'll release and bring the hands on down. And now let your arms come behind you, bringing your hands either fingertips to the floor or all the way down to flat hands. That's up to you, opening through the chest here. Look wherever feels good for you. If it feels good to look up a little bit or even all the way up at the ceiling, depends on how your neck feels this morning. Don't force anything. You know, some of you might even want to lift your hips up a little bit. That is totally up to you. And then we'll release. We're going to come all the way back up to sitting. Bring your chin down towards your chest. Let yourself release your head forward and let your chin turn from side to side a little bit. So you release a little more there into the upper back. You can even kind of sway side to side a little bit if it feels good. As your head moves, let the body move a little bit if you want to. Good. And then come on back in to center so we can rise ourselves on back to look forward. And we are going to switch the cross of our legs so you can stretch your legs out if you need to. If you weren't cross-legged, then come back to however you need to be. And then again, we'll move forward and back with the breath. Let yourself just start to feel the breath again, allowing you to come into that forward bend, exhaling your way forward, and inhaling your way back up. And then again, the next time you end up forward, go ahead and go as far as you choose. Let your hands give you support there if you need. If you want to walk your hands further out and fold over your legs, that is up to you and your back. Just be mindful. Let it feel good. Let go of your jaw. And let your face go. If you can think of just softening all through your face, all around your eyes, all around your mouth. Good. And then we'll walk ourselves on back up. From here, bringing your hands out beside you. Let's inhale the right arm all the way out and up overhead. And let your left hand come out a little bit farther away from you. And then bend the elbow a little bit. Come a little deeper into your side stretch. Now, turn your palm down towards the ground for a second. Let yourself inhale here into the right ribs. And as you exhale, turn to look at the floor. Lower that right arm down. It might even want to come all the way hand to the floor. That's up to you. And then as you inhale, come back opening into that side stretch. And then we'll rise on back up. Use your belly to rise yourself up. And we're going to inhale the left arm up. Now the right hand on the floor goes out a little bit farther. And then bend the elbow. Let yourself come a little deeper into that side stretch. And then just enjoy breathing into the left ribs on your next inhale. Feel the ribs expanding. And on your exhale, turn to face the floor. And again, you can lower that left arm down as low as you want to go. Just let yourself feel really good there in the shoulder, the upper back. And then on the next inhale, open back again into that side stretch. And we'll rise on back up from here. Arms on down, hands down beside you. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then unfold your arms. Bring your feet onto the floor in front of you. And we're gonna walk back just a little bit, come into a tiny little boat pose. Don't make it really hard, just balance for a second here. Flex through your feet, take your time. You can release if you want, or you can keep holding on to your legs. So if it feels better to hold your legs, right? And then we'll come on down. We're gonna stretch our legs on out in front of us, and then let them come a bit apart. How wide you wanna go is up to you. And so as you come forward a little bit here, you're just gonna wake up the backs of your legs. So it doesn't matter if you slide to your feet, if you slide to your ankles, if you feel really good to come down further with your chest towards the floor. That is totally up to you. You know that. Just let it feel good. Good. And then we'll rise on back up and bring our legs on together. Shake out a little bit. We're coming around towards our hands and knees. So if you know you need some support of any kind, blanket under your knees or your hands or anything, make sure you get it. Get your fingers spread nice and wide, unless your wrists bother you. You know you can come to fists. That's totally up to you. And then for a second, just wag your tail around a little bit and let your head respond going wherever it wants, right? So if you shift your hips to the left, your head wants to go to the right, or, just be mindful, or you may even want to look back a little bit towards your hip, right? Like you're wagging your tail, but you're looking back at it, right? Let's do a little bit of both, maybe. And then make our way back into center. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, let's drop into that cat pose. Press into the tops of the feet here. Really feel that sense of pressing into the tops of your toes for a second. And then on your next inhale, move your way back through into your neutral or cow. Take a breath here. Then you're going to start to move with your own breaths. So easing your way through your spine here, letting the tailbone initiate. And take your time. Just be mindful of giving yourself that time to really focus on how your spine, think about it. We're really lucky we have such mobility in our spines because of the way we're built. So just envision what it looks like as you move through your cat-cows. Good. And then we'll finish the one we're on. Come back to more neutral and send our right foot back behind us on the floor. Curl the toes under. Just wake up the back of the leg there. Now zip up your belly. Really feel that calf opening up a little bit more. And then we're going to switch. So just send that left foot back. Keep the toes curled under on the floor. Press into the heel and let yourself feel the heel reaching directly behind your foot. And wake up the calf here in the back of the leg. Good. And then bring that knee down. And now get yourself set up, because as we exhale, we're going to draw the right knee in towards our face, round up into our spine. And when we inhale, we're going to reach that right leg behind us and the left arm forward. So again, exhaling. Now you can bring your left elbow towards your right knee as you come in, or you can put your hand on the floor and then inhale and stretch back long. So one more time. Exhaling. Either bringing the left elbow towards the right knee, or put the hand on the floor and then stretch both long as you can. Left arm, right leg, stay there for a breath. And then bring your left hand, your right knee back down. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, left knee comes in towards you, rounding up into your spine. And then as you inhale, stretch the leg back. If you can release the right arm forward, do. And then on the exhale, again, you can put the right hand back down or put the right elbow towards the left knee. And then inhale again, back into either the hand up or down. And then one more time, exhaling, bringing yourself in. And then inhaling, extending out. And then we'll bring the hand and the knee back down. We're going to shift into child's pose. Come as far as you want, hips towards your heels. Let your arms stay overhead, but let your elbows soften, right? So it's released. And if your wrists are kind of telling you a little bit more has been done than you want, wrap your right hand around your left wrist and just squeeze a little bit and wiggle your fingers. And then you can just switch and do the other hand. Good. And then just release, breathing into the low back for another couple of breaths. And then we'll come on back forward to hands and knees, just long enough to step our left foot forward and our right foot back for a lunge here. So finding your lunge, take your time, get whatever height you need to be with your hands, you know that. Hands can be on the floor, they can be on the blocks, any height. Let yourself find that sense of being okay in your hands. Remember, you can be on fingertips, you can be on fists with your hands, you can be flat-handed. And we're going to switch legs. So however you want to do that, just be aware of how you switch normally, right? So some people step forward to switch, some backwards. Some people like to jump between their lunges. More power to you. If you want to jump between your lunges, go for it. But this next time that you switch to the other side, try to do it a different way, okay, than the way you just did. So if you always step backwards, maybe step forwards, or if you always step forwards, maybe step backwards to switch. And if you've never tried jumping to switch, again, more power to you. You can try that. One more breath here. See if you can lift your heel up a little bit on your left foot. Feel your left inner thigh drawing down, your right inner thigh reaching up towards the ceiling. And then bring your heel down, and we're going to switch again. So again, kind of try to do something that's different for you. Coming into that lunge. Feeling that sense of length in the back body. And floating the right heel up a little bit here now. Feeling that right inner thigh dropping down. The left inner thigh reaching up. And then come on down with that right heel. We're going to step forward, come into standing forward bend. Check out your feet, hips distance apart and parallel. And once you're there, and you can have your hands for support wherever you need, shift up to the balls of the feet and rise your heels way, way, way up if you can into the air. And then shift back to bring the heels down and lift just your toes up for a second. Spread them out a little if you can. And then bring the toes back down, and again, lift your heels way, way up so that you're right there on the balls of the feet. You see your toes into the floor. You can admire your toes for a little bit there. Try not to roll to the pinky toe side of the foot. It's like when you lift up, you're focusing on between the big toe and the second toe. And then bring the heels back down. Soften your knees a little bit here. Coming into your standing forward bend, wherever you're comfortable to be. Whatever support you need. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. Let your head feel really heavy. Coming into those nice, full, deep breaths. And see if you can really, as you inhale, feeling the ribs expand. Really feel the ribs expand in all directions. And when you exhale, imagine the top of the head just getting closer towards the floor. Good. And then we'll let our knees bend and bring our hands to our hips. Now press equally into your feet as you rise up to standing. We're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose here now. So adjust however you need to find your mountain pose. Shift around a little bit if that feels good, or circle around a little bit. Sometimes I like to just let my hips circle a little bit. And then come on in to bringing your gaze forward and out. Whether your eyes are open or closed. Feel really easy about the body stacking itself up here. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. Think of that sense of space in the back of your throat, so you're not cutting off by sending the chin forward or tucking it back. There is this happy middle place there. Very balanced between the sides of your body and between the front and the back of your body. And as we unfold our arms on down beside us, we're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. Mountain with arms overhead. Turn the pinkies a little towards each other. Feel as equal as you can through your feet up, through your legs, into your hips, And then proceeding up through the sides of the body into your shoulders, your arms, even up into your fingertips. If you want to look up, do one more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll bend the knees and come forward into our standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice flat back, wherever you want your hands to go. And we're going to step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Actually, come forward enough to see your hands. Make sure you have the hands pretty equal on the mat. Pointer fingers about parallel to each other. Fingers really spread wide. Elbows hugging in. And then reaching back into your full dog. Enjoy. Walk a little bit if that helps you release a little more into your dog, so that you come into the back of one leg at a time there. And then we'll come back to full dog, and on the next inhale, we're going to make our way out to plank. You see if you can walk a little bit in your plank. Bend one knee at a time. Let it come down towards the ground. If you want to press into the top of the foot of the knee that's bent, you can do that too. You can go all the way over the tips of your toes and press down into the tops of the toes a little bit. Let yourself really find a lot of work going on there. Finish off back in your full plank. When you're ready, we'll lower down. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. Let's come into Sphinx. Elbows under the shoulders. For a second, turn your palms up. Okay? Let yourself turn those palms up. Let your hands be a little relaxed. Not all the way curling into fists, but just a little relaxed. You still have pretty long fingers. You can enjoy the palms here for a second, which are usually, turned down. And then we'll just turn the palms back down towards the ground, gently feeling the hands into the floor, pressing gently into the forearms, the elbows. Let yourself come into that Sphinx. Bring your gaze where it's comfortable for your neck, right? So try not to lift the chin forward and shorten the back of the neck. Feel length in the back of your throat. Good. We're going to come on back down, and we'll make our way back into down dog from here. Whether you come through a half, a full push-up, or back to your hands and knees and back to dog. Elbows hug in. Spread those fingers wide. We're going to bring our right foot forward and come into lunge. And then we're going to come on into standing forward bend. Feet, hips distance apart, parallel. Now, if you are okay to bring your hands to the back of your head, clasp them there. And don't pull, but as soon as you kind of release there, you'll get, quite a bit more going on. So if it's too much, don't do it. Too much for your back. But if you can just rest the hands there, feel the weight of the arms, let yourself release into your breath. Good. And then we'll bring our hands on back up to our hips, bend our knees. We're going to rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's reverse. Inhale the hands up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms and fold forward. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we'll step the left foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. So again, get yourself adjusted in your dog. Feel really good there. And then we'll come on out to plank. And we're going to lower down. Again, knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come into a little cobra. Come onto your fists, actually. Hug your elbows in towards your ribs and then press into your fists a little bit. Maybe not going very high, right? Feel your back working. Don't depend too much on your arms, your hands there. Just enjoy. And then release your forehead back down. Take a breath into your low back. Bring your hands back to palms down on the floor. And on your next inhale, lift up again. And again, maybe it's tiny. Maybe you feel like you want to press into your hands and rise up with your elbows hugging in. Totally up to you for you and your cobra. Opening up through the front of the body. And then we'll release to come back down.
And we're going to make our way back to down dog, however you choose to get there. And we'll bring our left foot forward and come into lunge. And then we'll come back into standing forward bend. Right to your breath. See if you can count as you inhale. Gradually let the exhales at least be as long at that same count. Now if you can add a couple of more counts to your exhales, do, not forcing it. Good, and then we'll release our hands back up to our hips. Bend our knees, rise up. Inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms, clasp our hands behind us. Now staying here, see if you can, when you inhale, let your arms and your hands release away from you a little bit. And then as you exhale, bring them back down. So inhaling, arms come a little bit away. Exhaling them back down. Now focus on, as you inhale those hands away, we're going to stay here, we're going to bend our knees, we're going to come forward into like parallel to the floor with our bodies. So you have your hands up if you can, if not, put them back down. And then if you want to keep continuing forward, go right ahead and let your arms do just what they want. If they need to come back down to your back, do. If you want to let them come forward, do. One more breath. And then we'll release our arms on down. Let's inhale into that long back. And exhale, right foot back to lunge. Moving with our breath. Inhale. Exhale into down dog. Let your inhale carry you to your plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And on your inhale, coming into your cobra of choice. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way to the top with the breath. Let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. And let your inhale carry you to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And your inhale will bring you to your cobra of choice. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward, lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up to the top. And on the exhale, we'll come forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. We're going to walk or jump to down dog. Find your down dog, however you want. Wag your tail a little bit. Let your head turn a little side to side if you need to walk too. Just be mindful. Let it feel good. Bring the feet a little closer together. We're going to bring the left leg up in the air behind us. Let the toes face down towards the floor. Let that right heel descend towards the mat so you get the most in the back of that right leg. And then we'll bring that left foot forward and through. We're coming up for warrior two. You might want your blocks handy, about in front of your mat there. Line up your heels. Let yourself really be mindful here. Get adjusted there. Let your arms for a second just be down. Find your legs. Get your feet so that left foot's parallel to the long edge and the back foot is at that right angle for you. And then float your arms up, but bring your left arm under your right. Give yourself a hug. I'm sorry, bring your right arm under your left, actually. So bring your left arm on top and let your elbows melt down. Now you can head into a half eagle or eagle wrap if you choose. Not necessary. You can stay just hugging, breathing into between the shoulder blades on your back. Let it feel really good. Let your shoulders release. Good. And then we'll release elbows down, hands coming on down. We're going to inhale and float the arms on up into warrior two arms. Reaching out through the fingertips now. Really enjoy finding that power and strength of your warrior two. Feet equal in the mat. Good. From here, let your right hand come on down to your right hip. Straighten your left knee out. And bring your left hand down for triangle. So how low you want to go, totally up to you. Me, I like to use a block. You can always stack 2 blocks if you want. You can put your hand down on your leg. Feel your thighs engaging up towards the hips as you extend your torso out over that left leg. And then up to you, as you add that top arm, if your shoulder tells you not to, don't do it. See if you can let yourself feel the thighs engaging upward. And now slowly, if you have your arm up there, start letting the arm come down towards your head so that the palm turns to face the floor and you're coming into side stretch. So you're reaching into a long, long arm and you're finding quite a bit more there in the right side waist. And then bring the arm on back up into your triangle. If you want to turn to look up a little bit into that, towards that hand up there, do. And then from here, we're going to bend the left knee, look down at your left foot, and press your way back up into Warrior Two. Pressing those feet away from each other as you come. And now as we bring our hands down, we're going to turn our feet more parallel, okay? And if you need your blocks, grab them as you come forward. Take your time. Let your hands be either on blocks or the floor, out in front of you, so your back is lengthened. And then bend your right knee. Stay here for a breath. And then come back through center and bend your left knee and stay here for a breath. Really enjoying the inner thighs. And then come back, bend your right knee again, but walk your hands away, over towards the left, but you're still kind of out away from yourself, right? So you're not walking towards the left foot, you're just walking to the left side a little bit. And then come back through center. We're going to shift, bend the left knee, and you're going to walk over to the right again. You're kind of extending your torso out. And then come on back into center again. Now take your time. Wiggle around if you need to. Change your stance if you need to come into a way where you're going to be comfortable to be with your breath. So remember, if you feel much better to keep your back lengthened, you can stack blocks and be out of your hands and let yourself still release your head with your forearms on your blocks, or you can let yourself fold all the way, as long as that's good for you. Just be with that breath. And again, if you can, as you think about the length of the breaths, let your exhales get a little bit longer than your inhales. And at the very end of your exhales, see if you can imagine drawing your low, low belly, as low as you can, inward a little bit before you receive your next inhale. Now, we're going to slowly walk ourselves on out so we can walk back to our left foot. So, take your time. Come on back into your lunge. And we'll make our way back into down dog. Once you're in dog, walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times. So you press into the tops of your toes just to let the feet get a little easier there. And then, you're on your own. You can come out for vinyasas or kriyas or not. You can put your knees down. You don't have to do any of these vinyasas or kriyas. And if you choose, you can stay in dog, you can be in child's pose. You can go through chaturanga or not. You can come from down dog to up dog. Or you can come to your plank and move through chaturanga into your up dog or your cobra. Let's meet back in down dog. Take a nice breath there in your down dog. And then we'll bring the feet a little closer together so we can lift the right leg up into three-legged dog. Toes are facing down. Left heel descends towards the mat. Now press really equally out of your hands. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Feel your belly engaging. And then we'll bring that right foot forward and through. We're coming up for that Warrior Two. So remember, take your time. Let the heels get lined up. Let your arms be down for a second. find that alignment of that front knee. Make sure you feel really well aligned in your pose from your feet all the way up into your hips. And then let the arms float up a little bit. Left arm comes under the right, so your right arm is on top. Give yourself a hug. And be mindful here. You can stay right here and be perfectly happy. If that's more releasing than coming into a half eagle or eagle wrap, do that. Stay hugging. If it feels good to come into your wrap or half wrap, do. And just enjoy now that space between the shoulder blades on the back. Give it time to open up, bringing your breath there. And then we'll release, arms on down. And we're going to float the arms up into warrior two arms, bringing our gaze right out over the top of our right hand, reaching out through both fingertips. Feel the feet in the floor equally. So there's that balance and the power and the strength of warrior two. And as we let our left hand come down to our left hip, we're going to straighten our right knee out for triangle. Bring our right hand down. So again, you know, it's not important how far you go. You can have your hand on your thigh or your shin right below your knee. You can use a block underneath your hand, in front, over, behind your foot. So feel the thighs engaging up towards the hips, adding that top arm straight up from your shoulder if you can. Let the palm face forward. Let yourself enjoy that for a breath. And then if you can, if your arm will come down, slowly lowering so that you reach the arm more parallel to the floor as you come into side stretch here. Now feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips and feel that left side waist. It's an awesome stretch. One more breath. And now let the hand come back up, straight up from your shoulder. If you desire to turn to look up a little bit towards your hand, you can. And then turn to look at the floor at your right foot. Bend the right knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other. Bend your front knee a little deeper if you can. Find a little bit more in your warrior two. And then we'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. And grab your blocks if you need them. Come on forward. Bend your knees. Take your time. Once you get down there, bend a knee at a time at your own rate. So if you need to kind of switch it up a little bit, turn your toes out a little bit because that feels good too. Just play. Just be really playful in the pose. Let it feel really good to you. And then come on back, get your feet more parallel again, and let's walk our hands over towards our right foot. It doesn't matter how far you go. And bring your right hand on up to your right hip. If you want to roll your shoulder up more, do. And then we'll come on down. We're going to walk back through center and go to the left. Again, however far you want, bringing your left hand up, rolling that shoulder up if you want. And then coming on back into center and set yourself up where you can stay to be with your breath, and it's really easy to allow your upper body to release. So use support under your hands or your head if you need, or your forearms. Let yourself watch now those full breaths. Good. And now we're going to walk our hands on back out so that we can walk back to the right foot, back into our lunge, and coming on back into downward facing dog pose. And again, you're on your own. You want to do some vinyasas or kriyas, do. You want to put your knees down and rest, do that. So you let yourself just be mindful. Take your time and just enjoy that we're in here in a warm place. And are able to get our bodies nice and warm, and we'll finish off and meet back in down dog. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. And we're coming up from warrior one this time. So have your blocks handy, okay? Coming on into hands to the heart. Squaring your shoulders, getting the length of stance where you feel really, really good. That back foot's on the floor fully. Your arch is lifting up back there. You're not rolling to the inside edge of your foot. And you can look down at your left front foot here. Make sure the knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle, at least not covering your toes, right? And then bring your gaze on back forward again. Let's unfold our arms on down beside us. Inhale the arms straight out from your shoulders, like a T position. And then rotate your palms up. And we're going to bend our elbows and bring our hands behind our head and clasp them and press the back of our head into our hands. And now see if you can let your chest, your sternum, rise up a little bit, right? Opening here into that space right at the base of your shoulder blades. That lift comes from there. And feel your head pressing into your hands. Feel your feet in the floor. And one more breath. And then we're going to come back forward with our head, release our arms on down, and we're going to come into lunge here. Let yourself find your lunge. Now we're going to lower the back knee down if you can. So if you need to get a blanket, grab a blanket to put under your knee, and go ahead and come to the top of the toes. So that you can press into the top of the toes. You're engaging here into the front of your hip. And see about lifting up your hands to your thigh. And if you can't do that, don't, right? And if your hips don't shift so far forward, that's fine. You can be back a little bit with the hips. And then see if you can rise your right arm up overhead. And if possible, go ahead and let your left arm join it. And if not, don't do it. Keep your hands on your thigh if you need. Take your time. You can look up here. Feel that sternum rise like we just did. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands on down. We're going to lift the back knee up. Find lunge again. Now, let's play a little bit with coming into twisted prayer here. So separate your feet like you're on narrow railroad tracks. Maybe a little bit more wider than you usually are in your lunge. And then see about, you can keep your left hand on the block, bringing your right elbow over to your left knee. And if you keep looking at the floor, you might be able to put your left hand there into prayer hand on top of your right one. And you don't have to do that. If it's too much, don't do it. Some of you are fine to turn your gaze, I know, and look to the left. And then we'll come on back down. Let yourself come back to your lunge. And we're going to make our way back to downward dog. Woo, walk again if you need to. Vinyasas, kriyas. You might be getting quite a little bit warm in here. Doesn't it feel good to sweat when it's 18 degrees outside? Yes. So finish off the one you're on. Meet back in down dog. And we're going to bring the right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one on the other side. So again, you might want your blocks handy. You might want your blankets handy too. So take your time. Hands to the heart here. Be real calm. Feel that back foot on the floor. Just that quiet simplicity in your warrior one here. So that when you bring the arms straight out from your shoulders in T position, and then you rotate the palms up, feel how your shoulders relax. And when you bend your elbows and clasp your hands behind your head here now, and then imagine the sternum coming forward and up a little bit towards where the wall meets the ceiling. Feel the head pressing into your hands. There's a lot going on here. You can really feel your core when you feel your head pressing into your hands here. Imagine you're breathing in and out through your heart. And then bring your gaze back on forward. Let your arms release down. We're going to come down with our hands and find lunge. Remember, since we're going to put that back knee down, you might want to get a blanket underneath your knee. And as you come down with that left knee, press into the top of the toes. Remember, you don't have to be that far forward with your hips. If you can think about bringing your hands up to your thigh, do. Again, that's optional. And then see if you can bring your left arm up. You can hold in your right hand, can kind of give you support. Then you can decide if you want to even think about adding the right arm on up overhead. And whether you decide to open up here, coming into a little bit of the back bend is up to you. really open for the left, front of the left hip. Isn't it amazing? And then coming on forward, bringing your hands down. We're going to find lunge. Again, if you need to adjust that stance a little bit, think about playing here, you can. So bringing that left elbow over across to that right knee. That might be enough. You might not want to lift your right hand up into prayer hands. So take your time. And if you need to kind of readjust your stance, do. You can play a little bit with that. And then we'll release to come back down to lunge. And we're going to make our way back into down dog. And you're on your own. It's the last vinyasa or kriya. If you choose to do any, go for it. If you're like, no way, I'm done.
Not the last. Say that to an
And then we'll meet back.
The last one today.
We'll meet back in downward facing dog pose. And walk your feet wider on your mat once you're in dog, and then just let your hands walk on back towards your feet. Now, you can put your elbows above your knees and be perfectly happy right there. You can send your hands between your feet, wrap them around the outside of your ankles. You can stay there, and you can turn your toes out a little bit too if that feels better. And if you want to squat down, way down with your hips towards the floor, do it. So be mindful. You can bring your hands in front of you in your squat if you choose to. You know that. Let it feel good, right? Like a relief. Not like you're adding tension into your back and your hips. Instead, you're adding release for the hip back, low back and the hips. Good. And then let your hands come on back forward so you can rise your hips on up. Get your feet right underneath you. Come into your standing forward bend. If you're able to let your hands come to your elbows, do. Feel your sitting bones right over your heels. Knees can be bent, you know that. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands right down to be in front of our chest. Coming into mountain pose now. So adjust if you need to. Just let it feel so good to feel like the air around you is supporting you. And that feeling of almost like you're breathing in and out through every pore of your skin. So your whole body really feels alive and energized. At the same time, quiet. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come on down. Good. Shake out again. Move around a little bit if you need. We're going to bring our mats into a wall. So bringing your mat in, and since I had all these requests for half moon, I think we're going to do half moon today. So we'll do 2 half moons, okay? One of them will either be, the first one will either be you using the wall behind you and letting yourself have the whole wall at your back like this half moon where you're totally supported, or the back foot at the wall half moon, right? Where you have your back foot into the wall and you let yourself, let's all be on our right leg with our left foot back, okay? So pick whether you want your back foot at the wall coming into your half moon there, or maybe you would just as soon lie all the way back into the wall, right? Splat butt on a windshield feeling there. So get your supporting leg right under your hip. Remember the toes turn away from the floor. Now the foot is not totally parallel to, you don't want to think about like over opening your hip in half moon. The toes face down just a little bit. They're kind of halfway between all the way down to the floor and all the way pointing sideways, right? Good. And enjoy. Nice. Good. Forgot to say, if you're at the wall and you want to lift your bottom hand up, you can. Now when you're ready to switch sides, don't be shy. Come down when you want. Let yourself come to the other side. Make sure you're not locking the knee you're standing on. You might want your foot a tiny bit closer to the wall. Not
Okay.
much, maybe
Okay.
a half an inch.
Okay.
So it's right under your hip. Oh, your fan is your friend over there.
Me too.
Yeah.
Damn, I forgot to.
Good. Now when you've had enough of that side, come on down. Because we do want to play a little bit with balance. Even if you don't balance fully, it doesn't matter, right? So I'm going to turn sideways. But get your hands on your blocks any height you want underneath your shoulders. I mean, you can go to the floor if you'd rather. Sometimes blocks second height are better just because they're not so tippy. So that when you lift your right leg up in the air behind you and you open your toes away from the floor, you can bring that right hand maybe to fingertips, maybe right hand up to your hip, or maybe you want to bring the hand up all the way, arm up. Be mindful, take your time. Don't lift the hand up if you don't feel ready to. You can still use the wall at your foot if you want to. You all know that. And when you're ready to switch sides, do. And if you feel like playing in half moon a little bit differently, by all means do that, right? So sometimes bending that knee feels really good and fun. Drawing your heel in towards your buttocks back there. And that's actually really hard though. So if you reach back with the top hand and try to get the foot, it's even harder. But again, it's kind of fun. Good. Nice. So your heels are directly back from your sitting bone. And when you've had entirely enough of that one, come on down. Let yourself come into child's pose on your mat, okay? So release on down, and if you need to stay somewhat forward on your forearms, do. Or let yourself shift back all the way. And just breathe. Let the hips release a little bit there. Wherever you want your arms to go that feels most comfortable for you. Good. And then come on forward and lie all the way down onto your bellies for a second. Release your arms down alongside you. Turn your palms down towards the floor. And on your next inhale, let your head and your legs float up in your chest a little bit into locust. But let the hands just rest on the floor for a second. But try to feel really open across your chest. And then release to come back down. And now we're going to come onto our forearms and get our elbows under our shoulders, walk our knees up, and we're going to come up into a dolphin pose if you can. If you need to do forearm plank, do. If you can come into dolphin pose, do. Let yourself press into your forearms, feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Look back there at your feet. See if you can inhale your heels up higher. When you exhale, let them come back down. Good. One more breath here. Inhaling the heels up. Exhaling them down. And now see if you can walk your feet back to find a forearm plank. And then lower yourself on down, arms back down alongside you. And we're going to inhale up into a locust right away. Don't even think about it. All the way into hands up too. Keeping the back of your head in line with your spine if you can. Try not to lift your chin forward. Think of that length. Doesn't mean you can't lift up higher in the upper body. Good. One more breath. Come back down to forearms again. Elbows under the shoulders. Walk your knees up if you're going to do dolphin. Otherwise, come into a forearm plank. And then you can come on up into your dolphin. Press down into the forearms. Elbows hug towards each other. Now, you're welcome to lift the foot up in the air, leg up if you want. And then you can switch if you were lifting a leg up. And then bringing both feet down, we're going to walk back again to find a plank if you can. And then we'll lower all the way down to the floor. Now for a second here, turn your head to the right. Let your right cheek rest on the floor. And just take a breath into your low back. That might be kind of uncomfortable. You might have to switch whether your chin kind of comes down a little bit or not. And then we'll come up and switch and turn our head the other way. And breathe. Good. And then come back to center. Bring your left forearm underneath your head here. Bend your right knee and press on up into a half bow. If you can get your foot due, take your time. Press your foot into your hand a little bit. And now bring your head back down and see if you can pull your heel in towards your buttocks. If you have the foot, pull it closer in. And then press the foot into the hand again and rise your head up. And if you want to go higher and bring your arm back a little bit to give you more height, do it. That's totally optional. And then we're going to come down. We're going to bring our right arm forward, head on that arm, bend your left knee. Reach back if possible, get your foot. And then float your head up, press your foot into your hands a little bit. Let yourself feel that engagement here. And then bring your head back down and see if you have your foot, pull the heel in. Don't resist for a second. Pull the heel in kind of towards your outer buttocks. Hopefully it feels really good. And then press the foot into the hand. You're going to rise your chest back up again. If you want to bring your arm in down more towards your waist, you can lift up higher for that half bow. Good. And then we're going to come back down. And from here, arms down alongside you. You decide if a locust sounds like a good idea or reaching back into your bow pose, holding on to the feet or the ankles. So come into your back bend of choice. If you're in your bow, think of the feet lifting up. You can even rock a little bit if you want. And then we're going to come on down and we're going to come back to child's pose from here. So releasing your hips back only as far as feels good for you. Remember, how far apart your knees are is totally up to you. Whether you keep your arms soft overhead or bring your arms down alongside your legs is up to you. But be comfortable so you can feel the breath coming into your low back. Feeling the low back expand as you breathe in. Good. One more nice full breath there, really letting that back release. And then bringing your hands back by your knees, we're going to come on up and bring your legs on around in front of you here. Stretch your legs out. And then let your hands come behind you and just real easily open your chest a little bit here, sitting. And it is up to you. If you want to do a reverse plank, you can. You can turn your fingers either way, fingertips facing towards your feet or back a little bit on a 45-degree angle kind of towards the back corners of your mat there. And you can lift up if you choose. And then we'll release to come back down. Take a nice inhale, really sitting up nice and tall here. And on the exhale, just twist a little to your right. It doesn't have to be a deep twist. Just let the spine kind of feel really good here. And one more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come back around and all the way to the left. And again, just let it feel really good. Feel all the space in your spine, that twist in the middle of your back.
And then come on back forward and into a classic seated forward bend. Now, if you need to kind of think of sending your sit bones down, getting everything out of the way of your sitting bones, releasing yourself forward. It's not about how far you go. Let it feel really good. Let yourself release your neck. Imagine really that you're coming forward from your low back. Remember, your knees can bend. You're more than welcome to bend your knees. You're more than welcome to let yourself put a blanket or roll a blanket under your knees or your blocks. That can be helpful too. Good. One more breath. And now as we rise on back up, before you go onto your back, get your straps handy right there by you. And then come on down onto the floor. Let your knees come on into your chest. Release your knees a little side to side. Let it feel good. If you want to do a happy baby, do a happy baby, right? Kind of do what feels really good to your back. And then we are going to get these straps. And we're going to put both our feet up in the straps here at first. Now, once you get your feet up there and the straps across the balls of the feet, see if you can hold the ends of your strap. I'm hoping everybody has an 8-footer here. There is a 6-foot that keeps floating around, even though I try to get rid of it. So let your arms go out beside you so that you feel like you're reaching out into a T position, right? And your hands might not be on the floor. That's fine. Just let yourself feel that. And then, so you're even on your strap now. And then go ahead and release and hold the strap up more towards the straps up by your feet, or, up as high as feels good for you. We're going to slip our left foot out of the strap. Now, as you start to lower, really be mindful here. As you start that left leg lowering down towards the ground, feel what happens to your back. Let the natural curve come back, but you're not letting go of your belly. You're still engaging your belly. You're just not trying to force the low back down to the floor. So that by the time the leg gets down on the floor, bend the right knee a little bit. Let yourself enjoy what your back feels like. Feel that back ribs into the ground, but that little bit of curve that comes into the lumbar there. And then you just take your time. Leg can come straighter. It can be as far away from you as you need. Don't pull the leg in towards you. Just feel the weight of your arms. Let yourself feel that release in the back of the leg. But it's not a pulling. You do not want a pulling sensation at your hamstring, on your hamstring there at your sitting bone. And now put both ends of your strap into your right hand. Let your left hand really press down on the top of your left hip. And we're going to open the leg to the right. So as you do, staying grounded in that left side. Take your time. You don't have to go very far. It's totally up to you. Think of that outward hip rotation, pressing into the strap with the ball of the foot. So you're very engaged. It almost brings you into more length in your inner thigh there. The heel rotates slightly upward, so you have that outward hip rotation. Good. And then we'll bring the leg on back up to the top. Bring your left hand over to get both ends of your strap. Put your right arm out beside you. Move the leg just 6 inches or so to the left. And stop. And then with your left hand, pull over to the left a little bit, but press your outside of your foot into the strap, like you're trying to come back where you were. Getting into the outside of your leg there. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I can only stand that for a few seconds, go farther if you want, right? You can twist all the way, you know that. You can bring that leg as far over as you want. You can turn your head to the right as well, if that feels good. And that bottom foot, that left foot, the outside of the foot can come down to the floor if you're going really deep into the twist. So take your time. Let it feel really good to you. It might be 6 inches, and it might be, all the way over to the side. Good. one more breath. And now as you start to come up, think about just adjusting yourself on back up into center. We're going to put the left foot back up there again. So bring the left foot back up. You got both feet in. You feel probably pretty different side to side right now. So we need to slip the right foot out, and again, very slowly and mindfully. So lowering the leg down and feeling what happens to your back. Belly is engaged. You're feeling how that lumbar comes back into that natural curve, whatever your natural curve is, right? And again, once you get the right leg down, if you want to bend the left knee a little bit, if you feel like adjusting when you come into a straighter leg with the leg being farther away from you, do. And just breathe. Feel the weight of the arms. Not a pulling, just a natural weight helping the back of the leg open up deeper. If you need to readjust how or where you're holding your strap, do it. Press gently into the strap with the ball of the foot. And now we'll bring both ends into the left hand of the strap. Put your right hand heavily there, pressing your hip pointer bone kind of down as you open the leg to the left. Again, it may not be far. You may just start to press into that strap with the ball of the foot and want to go just a few inches. It may be that your hip rotation allows you to go farther over with the leg. Again, the heel slightly rotates upward. Press into the strap with the ball of the foot. Stay grounded in your right side. Good. We're going to make our way back up to the top, and we are going to switch hands. Right hand on both ends of the strap, left arm out beside you. Come 6 inches or so, and then pull a little bit with your right hand like you're trying to pull the leg down, but resist. Press back into the strap. And then, of course, again, if you're like, oh, my, I just want to keep going, then keep going as far as you want to go into that twist. Stay grounded. If you'd like to turn your head to look to the left, you can. Good. So one more breath there. And now as you start to make your way on back up to the top, if you want to put both feet back up there just to see how you feel, do. If you're like, I have had entirely enough of this strap, you can take it off if you want. You know that. If a wide angle with that strap on sounds like a good idea, go right ahead and let your legs open wide. That's a relief to me. I know it's not to everybody, so take your time. Just start to ease your way into what feels really good for you to do, right? You can play with the strap a little longer. You can take it off. You know that. Thank you. Bring your knees in. Now, after those deep strap stretches, there's a whole bunch of different things your body might want to do. So, pay attention. Might be that you need to come into easy little twists, knees side to side, or a happy baby. There's no telling what your body needs to do right now. Maybe just Shavasana sounds like the best idea ever. And I'm going to start to bring stuff around here at the studio. If you're home, and you know that when you lie out flat, that's not going to work for you. Try a rolled up blanket underneath your knees, which changes the angle of your pelvis a little bit, usually releases the back. If you're in here in the studio and you need something, wave at me. I can bring you blankets, bolsters. Now remember too, if you lie back and you find that your head, that your chin tilts up a little bit, just a little fold or two of a blanket underneath the back of your head can be really helpful for that. So just release into your breath, accepting your breaths in and out. Just letting your breath easily come in, go out, feeling that wave. When your mind wanders, just come back again and again. And give yourself these few minutes, allowing yourself to completely and fully relax. forcing the breath, but you receive them in a little bit deeper and longer. Letting your movement start when you're ready in your extremities and moving on up and into arms and legs, maybe even letting your head turn a little side to side. You know, take your time. You know, you're welcome to roll to either side anytime you're ready if you're comfortable to do that. Just be with your breath a little bit longer and appreciate the ground underneath you a little longer if you can. So that when you do feel ready to rise up, it feels rather easy, really, like the next natural thing to do, to come up to sitting again so that you, again, have your head above your heart and can enjoy the length of your spine as you reach up through the crown of your head. Feel your sitting bones reaching down towards the ground. So there's that equal and opposite feeling there in the spine. Coming back to your breath now, just watching the breaths in and out. And on your next exhale, letting your hands come gently to meet there in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.